What percentage of my final work earnings will I need in a retirement income?
What percentage of my final work earnings? Oh, yeah. So let's say you're making $100,000 and you're going to retire. How much are you going to need in retirement? There's all kinds of rules of thumb. It's 80% and all kinds of things. Uh, it's kind of interesting because in real life and experiencing and I've watched thousands of people retire. I'd say it's pretty darn close to your current income, unless you're really, really trying to cut back or something along those lines. Because what happens is you save money all over the place. So if you're no longer putting money into your 401k, for example, you're no longer having to buy as much in the way of clothes. You're not driving to work, so gas, and mileage on car drops down. Those types of things. But you also kind of increase some of your expenses. You're traveling a lot more, especially early in retirement. Most people travel more, so there's some compensating pieces there. I'd say it's probably in that 80 to 100% range on average. It depends. We've seen some people do it where they really cut back because they're really really interested in retiring, and they don't have enough money, and they're smartly cutting back to say 50%, and they're happy with that because they're so much happier to be retired, even if it means with less money. But on average, I'd say it's really closer to 100% of current income because that's the lifestyle that you're trying to replace as far as that goes.
Would you say it's instead of income, more current expenses would be a better way of like thinking about it since you're trying to maintain how you're living right now and your income though like tells you how you can live, but it's your expenses that are really the bottom line.
Oh, definitely. The weird part is, in my experience, is people have a really, really hard time actually nailing down their expenses. And so I guess one of the ways that I've seen that's most successful, because it's very easy to see your incomes, because there probably aren't that many. You might have lots of dozens and dozens of expenses. Some of them are quarterly and annually and monthly, but your incomes you kind of know, and so you take those incomes, and then if you can just figure out how much your overall savings grew, and just subtract that, the rest is your expenses. That money disappeared. So if I have $100,000 worth of money coming in after tax, right? And I look and I built up my savings between what I added to my 401k or savings account, say 20,000. Well, I just spent 80,000 last year, right? I mean, so that's a fast way of kind of figuring that out. But yeah, no, that makes sense. And trying to, if you really, really get into it, you can, and this seems like what everybody should do, right? Hammer down all their expenses. I hardly ever see that work, actually, almost ever. I do have some clients that are really, really into their spreadsheets and using Mint and different things to really track expenses, and they know everything. But boy, that's like 1 out of 40. Most people don't know exactly what their expenses are at any point in time, but they know their incomes, they know whether they're saving, right? So those are areas that are a little bit easier to track. But yeah, it works out. But again, if you look at it, a lot of people are, spending roughly 80% or more of their inflow. And so that's kind of what you need to get in retirement to replace that lifestyle.